figure it out.
Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Yankee Cryptid Podcast. My name is Mary. I'm here tonight with my husband Eric. Eric, how are you?
How are you doing tonight, Mary?
I'm all right. It was a long day, but I'm okay.
Sure.
Yeah. All right, so we're once again on location in the van. We do have the heat on tonight because it's 25 degrees out, so there's that. In southern Vermont. So we both kind of we have some interesting neighbors, so they're kind of floating out and about right now and making a lot of noise, so bear with. But we are both from like the Newport, Rhode Island area originally, and as we've been talking about ghost stories, you know, recounting our Gettysburg experience and just kind of talking about it, we wanted to share more of our ghost stories with you. So I thought today, why don't we each do a Newport, Rhode Island ghost story experience that we've had. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Doesn't matter to me either way.
Why don't you go first?
Okay, I'll go first. Alright, so this took place, I don't know, I don't even remember the year. I think it was like 2007, 8, something like that. I was the manager of the local Domino's, and after a busy night, now this is like probably like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning at this point. Everybody had left. All the drivers, all the insiders had left. All the cleaning was done. I got the deposit together. And actually that night I had to count the deposit like 16 fucking times as usual. I couldn't get it right. And then I locked the front door and I locked the back door. The back door is a deadbolt, so it had a push bar. And then the front door is a key. So I'm like, alright, well I have to go to the bathroom before I leave. So I went into the bathroom with the deposit. I locked the door, which I don't really know why I locked the door, because there's nobody in the building. And I was sitting there going to the bathroom. I look over at the door and I see a shadow go by the door. Not once, but twice. Like walking by, like to the door, and then walking away from it. And I'm like, alright, so I know I locked the front door. And I know the back door is bolted. Is there someone hiding in here? So I'm sitting there wondering, should I open the fucking door? Luckily enough, there was like tools and shovels and wherever in the bathroom across from the toilet. So I decided, I think I grabbed a friggin', how was it? An extra peel, or no, it wasn't an extra peel, it was a friggin' fork thing. So I slowly opened the door and I poked my head out and I didn't see anybody. So the walk-in's to the right. So I'm like, alright, maybe they're in the walk-in. So I went around the corner a little bit. I checked in the office, nobody. I opened up the walk-in, looked around in there, nobody. Came out, went up to the front. I was looking underneath everything, all the counters, behind the oven, behind the boxes. I went back to the bathroom. Nobody's in the store.
Fuck that.
And when you open the front door, it made a ding noise. So if someone had left through the front, I would have heard a ding. And in the back, when you close that latch thing, it makes a shit ton of friggin' noise when you slide it over. So I didn't hear any of that. So it was like someone had walked by to try to like either get into the bathroom or approach the bathroom and then walk back by, leaving.
And this was before the store got renovated, right?
Oh yeah.
It was like when it was old and like small and like there was nowhere to hide. I mean,
there wasn't really. I mean, there's a few places you could hide, but not too many. I mean, you could hide behind the washer dryer if you're small enough, but you make a shit ton of noise doing that. Like,
well, yeah, but I mean, realistically,
I mean, theoretically, the person could have just climbed on top of the walk-in. I didn't go on top of the walk-in. and I didn't climb up because there's an office area
Yeah, but
up above the.
don't you need a
drop
ladder?
ceiling. You
You
could.
couldn't do that like silently. There's
No, you'd hear someone crawling up there.
then like evidence of like the ceiling tile dust and all that shit.
There was nothing. The store was still the way I left it when I walked into the bathroom. It was like the floor was still wet, and that's the other thing. The floor was wet, and the only footsteps were mine.
Huh.
When you could see, like I saw that, like it showed my footsteps coming around from the office into the bathroom, right, and then just mine walking out. There was no other footsteps.
Okay, well let's just pause for a minute and appreciate that the Newport Domino's is one of the most fucked up, backwards ass vortexes
That place is like,
that any human being has ever been in. I mean,
yeah, that place is. I mean, literally, things happen out of the blue.
oh yeah, the place was messed up. Everybody there's messed up. Like it does something to you. It's weird.
Oh yeah.
So what? We've worked there. I've worked there on and off since 2001, and you've worked there on and off since what? The 80s.
Yeah, late 80s.
Yeah. So we used to have this joke that the store was built on a Indian burial ground or something because it was so fucked up. Just I never experienced any hauntings, but then again, I was never there alone at night, so I didn't experience anything weird like that. But other weirdness, yeah, all the time.
Oh yeah.
All the time. So I'm not surprised. In other words,
Oh, you'd hear things sometimes too. There was a couple times that people heard things. Doors opening. We put something on the office and locked the office door. This is back in the old days. You put something in the office, like a box of pens you just bought from wherever, like Walmart or something like that, and then you go back in. Like 5 minutes later, keep in mind it's locked, and the pens are fucking gone. I just get so freaking riled. I'm like, all right, motherfuckers, who the fuck is stealing my shit? But then, like an hour later, you'd just be going by the office, you glance through that little window, and the pens are sitting there, and you're like,
what the hell?
is someone fucking with me here? But keep in mind, the manager is the only one in the office to the key. Office to the key. Wow.
The key to the office.
That was good. That just flowed,
It was
too.
poetic. Oh,
Yeah, that place is like, and even before, because I actually helped build the store with the owner, the old owner. Because before that, there was two stores. There was one downtown, and there was one in the town next to it. And I remember the owner saying, "Hey, you don't want to work and make a lot of money for like a couple months?" And I'm like, "Fine, fuck it." And he's like, "You're going to help me build the new Domino's." So like, yeah, so that's all I did was go there. We put up sheetrock, we put up friggin' Merlite, fucking put ovens in, do the wiring, and that might be why it's partially fucked up. Because
like
hey
that
Eric,
2x4 holding up the roof.
hey Eric, can you finish the wiring on the oven? Sure. No electrical experience at all.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I didn't
yeah.
know. I'm just going by diagrams. I'm like, all right, it looks like that wire goes there. Everything was all messed up in that store. Like, oh, and then like it was an old gas station. So like when it came time to do the floors, right? The area supervisor, I'll say his name. Fuck it, Mark. What you're supposed to do is fill it in with concrete, and then put the floor stuff on top of it, because it's a big, 1.5 foot tube that goes down like 20-30 feet. Nope. What we did was we filled around it with sand, put a freaking board, a particle board on top of it, and then put the tiles down. Not supposed to do that. Yeah, the place is messed up.
So all the negative energy and evil spirits are coming up through that, just like in the Conjuring house.
Oh yeah.
It comes
There's
from
two
that
of
well.
them too. There's two
Oh,
areas
my God.
that because the office for the gas station when we first got there was really, really small. It was only like 4x3 or something like that. It was really small. The rest of it was this garage. So,
Jeez.
man, messed up shit happened there like all the freaking time. Like all the freaking time. Like the craziest shit you ever seen in the world.
Well, to this day, I mean.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Domino's haunted.
Yeah.
is definitely fucked up.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
agree with that for sure.
Yeah, because you work there and you've seen it, you know.
Yeah.
Be like in the middle of 100 mph, and all of a sudden the freaking ceiling gives way with all the water coming out of it. Like something out of a fucking horror movie.
Just duct tape it. It's fine.
And I think the owner was also messed up too, because, you know, like his responses to some of the stuff was like absolutely ridiculous. Like I remember one time we lost our gas. Like he forgot to pay the bill or something. I call him up, and most people would be like, "Oh shit, I'm sorry, I'll take care of that right away." His response was, "Is there any place you can get firewood?"
Firewood. Hey, maybe that's why he never wanted to be there. Because, you know, he'd show up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and then like hear shit and have doors slamming and...
No, he came in once in a blue moon. He came in once when I was in the office drinking a beer, and there was like a 24-pack in the friggin' walk-in, which you're not supposed to fucking do. And I see him walk in. He said, "Hey, was it busy tonight?" And I'm like, "Yeah, a little bit." And he just walks into the walk-in. I'm like, "I'm fucked. I'm fired." He comes walking out. He goes, "All right, have a good night."
Huh.
Didn't give a fucking flying shit at all. He just kept walking. He's probably walking in there to see if there's any ghosts. I don't know.
That's probably why he didn't show up ever.
Might be. Oh, the one thing that did happen when we were building it, because it was plagued with fucking problems. Like, right off the bat, when we started building that thing, we had to get rid of like freaking 300 or 400 fucking dead pigeons in all states of decomposition. Like,
That's fucking disgusting.
yeah, so we had to get rid of that first, and then the permit that the owner got fell through, so we had to stop working for like a week until we figured it out. And then there was something else. The environmental people, the EPA people that come by to make sure the tanks are out and stuff like that, they showed up, and then he didn't show up, and they showed up, and he showed up, and it was just a huge fiasco. Finally we got it approved, and then the owner, he's like working on a ladder, putting up fucking boards to support something, and he slips off the ladder and cuts his arm from about here, about 2 inches away from his wrist, all the way to his armpit, about that thick.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Oh. That's not good.
I was up in the front freaking putting down fucking cement where the mink line is actually, and I heard him scream or yell, wherever how it was. I go running over, a couple other people were with us went running over, and all we saw was this blood just fucking gushing.
Jeez.
Yeah. Luckily Emily, my friend Emily there, she knew like first aid like to a T. She like wraps it up, put tourniquet, fucking like that. She's dialing 911.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, what's in that area? There's nothing like... What's the historical significance of that corner? I mean...
I think that was a colonial tower. Like, not brig, but
Oh,
outpost.
there was the one over on...
No, I think there was one there because it was Antinope Hill at the top.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So it was either on that side of the street or the opposite side of the street.
It is kind of at the highest point, I think.
Yeah,
It's
because you
at
can
a
see
very good place strategically at
but
that
there's
location.
nothing ever been mentioned. And then, like you were saying, there's this thing around the corner. What was it called? Antinomy Battery or something, or...
Yeah, what street was that on? Off of Boulevard?
Yeah, it was off of Boulevard. I forgot what it was called. Should get Brandon here. He knows all that shit.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I mean, that whole... It's like another very dull moment in that store. I think a lot of it had to do with the haunting, fucking with people.
I could. It definitely could have. So... Is it my turn?
I think it's your turn. I think it took up like half an hour.
I don't know. Let's check our time. 14 minutes. Not bad. Alright, so my Newport ghost story. I have a couple, but I figure the best one is probably from the Jailhouse Inn. So I worked at the Jailhouse Inn. I was a housekeeper when I was 16, 17, mostly 17. I worked there for quite a while. Not quite a year, I don't think. And what I find very interesting about the jailhouse, and I'm just going to throw this out there because I just discovered this recently in the past couple of years before, since this occurrence. And turns out that my, 10th great-grandfather in like the 1600s was actually the jailkeeper in Newport, Rhode Island. And I'm not 100%, but I believe it was at the same location. Because this building, I think, was built in 1772? Something like that. Yeah, to replace the previous one, which they called, I guess, the 1658 jailhouse. So I find that very, very interesting. But anyway, so I was a housekeeper, and downstairs we had, so the Jailhouse Inn is a moderately sized building, 3 floors with a basement. There were rooms in the basement. They didn't get rented out that often, and the basement was finished. It was decent. But that's where the laundry and the kitchen and, all that stuff was. And, where we got all our linens, blah, blah, blah. So the setup of the kitchen is important to the story, though. So if you're standing in the doorway of the kitchen, you've got, a room. It's probably like maybe a 20 by 20, if that, like a square like. And to your right side, you'll have the kitchen counter. It goes up maybe, 10 feet or so, 12 feet, and then curves into an L, and then it reaches the fridge. And then right behind the fridge is the laundry room door. And then right immediately to your left, you had a huge, wooden table. That's where, everything was folded on, and we kept, stacks of sheet sets and whatever. So to walk into the laundry room, you would walk into the kitchen, walk down this pathway, take a left, and then take a right around the fridge into the laundry room. So, from the doorway of the kitchen, you can see the laundry room and the whole rest of the kitchen. From the doorway of the laundry room, you can see most of the kitchen, with the exception of the elbow where the counter curves or turns to the left. Right? Okay. So, I'm in there doing the laundry, and I have a view of the door where I'm at. I'm loading the washer, unloading the dryer, whatever the hell I'm doing. And I have a view of the kitchen door from where I am. Like I said, I cannot see directly to my left into the elbow where you'd walk around to get into the laundry room. So as I'm doing the laundry, I see, it's kind of out of the corner of my eye, I can see in the doorway there's a woman standing there with a white shirt and black dress. It looked almost like a skirt, and like a long skirt. And out of the corner of my eye, I assumed it was one of my coworkers, because that was our uniform, was white top and black bottom. So I see her out of the corner of my eye, I think nothing of it, and she walks into the kitchen, and I'm like, oh, alright, whatever. She's down here for whatever reason. I just kept doing laundry. I expected to see her in the doorway of the laundry room within moments. It never happened. Never saw her go out, and I'm like, where the hell is she? So I go and I'm like, I forget the name of the other housekeeper. But I pop my head around the fridge, and nobody's there. And I'm like, where the hell did she go? She didn't leave. There's nowhere else to go in the kitchen. You can only really go to the laundry room. There's no cubbies or closets or anything. That's it. So of course I kind of lost my shit. I went, I was a kid at the time. I went kind of screaming upstairs to the front desk, and she's just sitting there clearly it wasn't her. She kind of brushed me off and whatever, and I know what I saw. I saw a person walking in there, and that's kind of the end of it. I don't remember how much longer I was there after that, but that was definitely the experience for the frickin' ages at that time. I was a kid, and I'd had some experience with weirdness, but that was probably one of the biggest things I've ever experienced in my lifetime outside of Gettysburg. I mean, nothing tops Gettysburg. So there's that. And that's my one of my Newport stories.
Yes.
The Jailhouse Inn, I guess it's reported to be haunted, but there's not much about it. I can't remember back in the day what, I don't really remember talking about it with people. I mean, the place kind of had a feeling to it. in different areas. There's a laundry chute, which, I mean, laundry chutes are always creepy, but
When you don't slide down.
this would be a fall down. I mean, this thing went from the top all the way to the basement. You know, it was kind of...
You know what's funny is every time I went to there for a delivery and I went up into the upstairs, because you know how you had to walk up around behind the...
Yeah.
And go up the stairs. I went by the laundry chute thing. I always wanted to send my bag down there. Just for shits and giggles. Be like, hey, I think I brought something.
I just tripped and fell and dropped my bag in the laundry chute. Yeah. So yeah, there's our quick 20 minutes. It's our quick Newport stories. Yeah, hey, if you have any Newport stories you want to share, by all means, shoot them over and we'll read them. yankeecryptid@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Honestly, like, we're trying to gather stories and just kind of talk about this stuff. If you haven't seen our introduction episode, go check it out, because that kind of explains what we're doing. So, yeah. Thank you for joining us, and till next time.